Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of
American Werewolves,
where we talk about all things horror. I'm Brandon,
I'm Jerry.
and today we're going to be talking about The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, Season 1. Now, what did you think when you first heard this series was announced? What was your thoughts on it, I guess, or even just from your thoughts on the first trailer?
Well, to begin, so they understand, we're talking about the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
Didn't I mention that?
No, you didn't.
Whoops.
Whoopsie.
I could have sworn I talked. Yeah, I said it. We're talking about Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, Season 1.
Oh, you did. I'm sorry.
I think you're.
I was looking up something about the show and I phased out.
Oh god. Oh.
Yeah.
I'll probably leave that in.
I wasn't. It was something I wanted to watch, but it wasn't anything like I was super excited to watch. You know?
Right.
Like I saw it and I was like, oh, I'll give that a shot. But it wasn't like, you know, whenever Marvel comes out with a movie and I have to buy my ticket the second it goes on sale.
I mean, did you ever watch the original show growing up?
I didn't. I wasn't really into it.
Oh no.
No.
It was weird because I watched it growing up, and it was just kind of one of those shows that it was good to watch to like pass the time. I wasn't really crazy about it. So when I heard about this, new take on Sabrina coming out based off the comics, I thought it looked interesting because I kept hearing people talking about the comics, but the show just kind of looked like something that should have been on CW, and I'm not really a fan of CW shows, which I also heard was originally supposed to be on CW beforehand, but then Netflix ended up buying the rights.
Yes, because they were supposed to be, because it's by the creator of Riverdale, and they were supposed to be crossovers and stuff.
Yeah, they were going to be merging them together.
Yeah.
But thank God they didn't, because this show is actually pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy Riverdale, but I will say this is a better show than Riverdale. I'm glad that Netflix bought it because I feel like they did stuff in this show that they would not have gotten away with on CW. On just regular television, they would not have gotten away with a lot of the show.
Yes, because there's a lot of things that happen that are just I did not expect. Like this show is a lot more, is way more satanic than I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, the first 10 minutes of this show are something pretty gruesome happens. I mean, with all of our reviews and stuff, we spoil everything. So I'll just say it. If you haven't seen the show and you don't want to be spoiled, listen, if you haven't seen something and you're still listening to us,
then you should know that we are going full on in depth with everything about this show.
I mean, the first 10 minutes of the show,
it's in the title.
Someone gets stabbed in the neck with a pair of scissors and it's just blood everywhere.
Yeah, this isn't like implied by like shadows on the wall, like something on the CW would do.
Yeah, I wasn't like expecting that. So like it happened the first 10 minutes and I text you. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I remember. I think I was just finishing up the series when you just texted me that.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is pretty crazy. And then I remember telling you about like the episode I was on, like episode 5 being the craziest, and you just mentioned how Netflix just likes to do this thing, I guess, with horror shows where they have to make episode 5 super fucked up.
Yeah, because if you guys haven't seen Hill House, which please watch it, episode 5 is fucked up.
Yeah, the show's pretty dark, but that was just like, goddamn.
Yeah. I will say though, watching episode 5, I mean, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Like, it wasn't as crazy.
Yeah, I feel like had I just let you watched it and not told you, you would have been like surprised, but now you were expecting something crazy.
Yeah, I was expecting Hill House crazy, and it wasn't.
Yeah. No, though. These shows are very different when it comes to their horror. But onto the premise of the show. So the series revolves around Sabrina, the teenage witch, and a much darker take compared to the 90s sitcom. And it's, her 16th birthday, and it's coming close on Halloween. And she must choose between the witch world of her family and the human world of her friends. because she is told that she needs to sign her name in the Book of the Beast.
Yes.
Yes, the Book of the Beast, in order to, swear her soul to the Dark Lord and join this academy. She is torn between these two worlds, and she's trying to make the best of these crazy situations she's in. And I don't know, it's way more complicated than it is.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, you give it a shot.
yeah, I mean, you kind of covered it. It's on every witch's 16th birthday, there's a ritual, and Sabrina's is extra special because there's a blood moon on hers. And so signing your name in the Book of the Beast essentially gives your loyalty to, the Dark Lord, which is Satan. And in order to do that, though, once you sign your name, you give away your mortal life. And Sabrina's like, okay, why can't I have my witch life and my mortal life? Why do I have to leave all my friends behind to be who I am? And the thing is, Sabrina's a half-witch. Her father was a warlock, but her mother was mortal. So Sabrina's like, I'm not sure if I want to give up my mortal life for this. And she's like, I don't think I should have to, because I'm not a full witch. And so the series kind of revolves around her fighting this, everybody asking her to sign this book, and people kind of trying to trick her into signing it, and also her getting mixed up with situations and kind of learning from it. It's kind of like a coming of age.
Yeah, it's
tale.
a really dark coming of age tale. It's
Yeah.
like the first 2 or 3 episodes, it kind of revolves around her like needing to sign this Book of the Beast and her not wanting to, and then it's like a whole big situation between the occult coven that she's a part of. And then after that, it kind of turns to like that's when the show kind of starts to flesh out a bit more in its world building.
Yeah.
A lot of craziness that goes on in this show, especially by the end. What did you think of Sabrina?
I loved her. I thought she was great. I thought honestly everybody was good in the show. I mean, there are characters that here's what I will say. The acting in the show is fantastic. Everybody does a great job. The characters on the other hand aren't so likable. There's probably about 3 or 4 characters that you're like, oh, I actually enjoy that character, and everybody else you're like, you either fucking hate them because they're just assholes, or you just don't care for them. So I will say Sabrina, Aunt Hilda, Salem, Salem,
I guess you could count him.
and Ambrose are the only characters that I actually cared about. I mean, I guess Nick was a cool guy. So you can kind of throw him in that list, sort of. But everybody else I didn't really care for.
Yeah, like the show tries to set them up, Sabrina and her friends and her boyfriend. It tries setting up her life, and we're introduced to them. Her friends being Harvey and her boyfriend being Harvey, and I'm trying to remember the other two's names.
Roz and Susie.
Yeah, that's how forgettable these characters are. I can't even remember their names. I really didn't care much for her friends. Mm-hmm. It's not like they were bad people or anything. I just think they were kind of boring.
Interesting, yeah.
Yeah. The only time something really became interesting is when they started getting involved more in the main plot.
Yeah.
Which is towards like the last 3 episodes, I think.
Yeah. But even when Susie started feeding into the plot, I still didn't really care for Susie. She's kind of annoying.
Yeah, she is kind of annoying, and I don't know. I in the beginning with her plot when she's getting bullied by the guys, they tried. It's a really messed up situation, but like for some reason, I just couldn't really get behind it.
Yeah, I feel like her character...
It kind of felt forced. That whole bit kind of actually felt forced, and I think that's why I didn't really care for it.
Her character, I feel like, could have been somebody really interesting if it was done differently. I just didn't care for her story.
Yeah.
Roz, I cared a bit more about Roz only because you feel bad for her in her situation.
Yeah, because she has the whole thing with her eyes and she's going to be going blind pretty soon. And all she wants
Yeah.
to do is just read her favorite books or books that she finds interesting before that's all done.
Yeah. And then Harvey, God, I just don't.
Look, Ross Lynch is a great actor. We know he can act due to like, the like My Friend Dahmer, which if you haven't seen it, check it out. It's pretty good. He can act, but for some reason, I don't know what happened here.
Man, Harvey is one of the most annoying characters I have ever seen in a TV show. He's so fucking whiny, man. And the line that just angers me the most is when he's telling Sabrina about what he sees in the mines. Because
Yeah.
Harvey, when his father owns a mine shaft, and he has a company that works in the mines, and they do whatever miners do. And Harvey's brother, he forces Harvey and his brother to work in the mines. So one day when Harvey was a kid, while he's exploring the mines, he sees Satan. And Satan in the show is the what is it, the goat legs, I think.
Yeah.
And the head of whatever.
It's a goat man. It's goat
Yeah,
man.
it's the head of a goat, I think, and then
I'm not gonna call him Satan. I'm just gonna call him Goat Man. That's what he is to me.
and a human body. But Harvey sees him and he's kind of just shocked, and then he's telling Sabrina about it, and he's like, what if I go down in the mines and it's just there waiting for me? I'm like, dude, shut the fuck up. Like, you honestly think this creature has been waiting for years going, man, I hope that Harvey kid comes back. Like,
I mean, it kind of did seem a little like that by the end of it when the possessed uncle is talking to him and taunting him. But I guess maybe that's just the same demon just trying to get under skin.
that's all I felt like it was, because Harvey is such a little, honestly, like, throughout the whole show, Satan's objective is to get Sabrina to sign the book. Do you honestly think he gives a shit about Harvey? Like,
No, you're right there. You are right there. I didn't really find him as annoying as you did. I just found him really boring.
no,
I just thought
fucking annoying.
I didn't think he was annoying. He didn't bother me. I mean, I kind of liked what they were kind of doing with him by the end of the season, but he never really borderline annoyed me. He was just so boring. I didn't care for a lot of the things that happened to him, and his chemistry with Sabrina is just, it's not there. There's nothing there. It's like cardboard.
The relationship between them just isn't good.
Yeah, like they say they love each other and they really want to be there for each other, but I just don't buy it.
I kind of see it on her side. It's his side that I didn't really get. I feel like it's because I found his character so annoying that I was like, man, Sabrina deserves someone better. But I felt like, I don't know, it's weird. Like, I just felt like from Harvey's side of it, I was like, I don't buy it from you.
Yeah, he's just, and I don't know if it's because like the direction the creators wanted to take the series, and they told Ross Lynch to act like this, or maybe it's just the material. I don't know. Maybe he was having like a really off month or something. So, what are your thoughts on the aunts? I know you said you liked one of them. But what are your thoughts on both of them?
Yeah.
And Ambrose, I guess the Spellman family.
Yeah. Aunt Hilda is super funny. She's super sweet. All she wants to do is just help. Sabrina at one point asks her, like, hey, should I sign, what do you think? Should I sign my name in the book? And her Aunt Hilda's like, if I'm being honest, I wish I could just go into the forest and burn it down, because the forest is kind of where all the witchcraft and the creatures live and all that. And Hilda doesn't really want anything to do with that life anymore. She enjoys being a witch, but she doesn't enjoy the strings that are attached to it.
Yeah, like the politics around it, I guess, if you will.
So I enjoyed her. Aunt Zelda, I hated. She was so throughout the show, she's the
Yeah.
complete opposite. She loves Satan and she loves their religion, and it's the only way to kind of live is to sign this book. And
Well, she had more motives than that behind why she wanted Sabrina to, write sign her name in the book.
yeah,
But it's just, but like you can tell she's embracing it, like she's loving it. It's like they kidnapped her like she was in a cult and like she's been brainwashed since. Like that's how bad it is, honestly.
yeah, because even episode 5, you see how much she's in love with all of this. How
Yeah.
much she's in love with this religion.
But you can also tell in that episode there's something else kind of pulling her back from that.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, what matters to her the most is her family, because when I think it's episode 7 or 8, when Sabrina asks Zelda, if I was the sacrifice, would you have let them do that to me? And Zelda goes, no. And whenever there's a situation that comes up where it's kind of their life or Sabrina, Zelda always chooses Sabrina. And so, you can see, and that's what I did like about her. At the end of the day, her family was the most important thing to her. But
So she wasn't a total terrible person,
No.
She's not like Harvey where you're
yeah, she wasn't Harvey.
Yeah, you're actually meant not to like her. With Harvey, you just end up not liking him
Yeah.
for completely different reasons.
And then Ambrose, who wasn't in the comics, Ambrose is a character, I believe he was.
No, he is in the comics. He's not in the original sitcom.
Well, the comics came after the sitcom.
Yeah, if you guys don't know, these Chilling Adventures of Sabrina is based off a series of comics that is unrelated to the sitcom. It's a whole different take, nothing to do with that world at all.
Well, here's the kind of the history. The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, the Teenage Witch, came out sometime where Archie originally started coming out, some in the 19 something.
I think it was 80s. I'm probably wrong, but I'm
Yeah,
gonna stick with 80s.
and it might have been earlier than that.
It could have been way earlier from that.
Yeah, I think it was
Maybe
earlier.
60s.
And then the 90s sitcom happened, and then in 2014 they launched Chilling Adventures of Sabrina along with Archie horror comics, which was kind of all those Archie comics that you read, and they all took a horror take.
Yeah, I think it was like Aftermath of Archie or something like that.
I have no idea. But I was doing some research, and I didn't read anything of Ambrose being in Chilling Adventures of Sabrina comics.
No, he is. Yeah, I looked
Okay.
into it. Yeah, he's in it. He doesn't look the part at all. Like he looks completely different. A lot of the characters got very drastic changes in the show compared to the comics. But he's in it. He was there to kind of make up, Sabrina's sidekick because in the sitcom Salem talked and those two had a banter going back and forth.
That's what I figured. I figured he was the comedic relief that Salem wasn't in the show, because in the show Salem does not talk.
But I think they're kind of hinting that he might in the next season, which is something we'll get into near the end of the podcast.
That's what I was expecting.
Let's talk about the horror in the show, which I did not really expect. We went into it a little bit, but there were some things that really went down in this show that like kind of got under my skin a little bit. There was a lot in episode 5 that I really didn't see coming. It was pretty gnarly. The whole thing with Sabrina being locked in that cage full of spikes, that was just super unexpected. That was just like, holy crap. And then the whole nightmare with Ambrose where he's literally operating on himself while he's alive and stuff. Just thinking of that is just terrifying. Or getting stuck in a loop, like a nightmare like that, like on loop. It's just...
Yeah, I guess.
It's also when... I don't know if you've seen Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but I feel like this show shares a lot of similarities with that show.
I have. I can kind of see what you mean.
Yeah, just in that episode in particular with, there's a demon, we have to go take it out, or stuff like a creature, we have to take it out. It's similar to like how Buffy dealt with her shit.
Yeah, I see what you mean there, yeah.
Was there an episode you found like pretty horrifying in there? Or like just kind of like, holy crap, aside from like that first episode?
It kind of happens throughout the show. There wasn't one episode where I was specifically like, wow, this is gruesome. Like, there was...
Yeah, granted, I know we've seen worse, but the
Yeah.
only reason I just think it affected me more because I didn't expect it from the type of show it was promoted to be, you know?
Uh-huh.
Like I thought it would be a CW show, but then these moments happen and I'm like, all right, this is Netflix.
Yeah.
So they can get away with a lot more.
Yeah. I didn't have like a there wasn't really an episode that like stood out to me. Like I didn't have like a favorite episode or anything. I just enjoyed this series as a whole.
Oh yeah, so did you catch the Riverdale cameo by episode 7, I think?
I
Or,
did.
or 6, yeah, the Feast of the Feasts.
Yeah, so it's episode 7, Feast of Feasts. And for those of you who watch Riverdale, it begs me, or it brings up the question of when does Sabrina take place? Because spoilers for people who watch Riverdale, episode 3 of season 3 of what they're on now, Ben Button jumps out a window and kills himself. So him delivering the pizza, he's a pizza boy in an episode of Sabrina, and throughout the show they drop Riverdale. They name drop Riverdale every
Yeah, a couple times.
But Ben Button shows up, which one, begs the question: are we gonna get a Riverdale crossover? And two, when does it take place? Does it take place during season 1 of Riverdale? Because it can't take place now because Ben Button is dead. I read something, or someone told me something where the writers were like, this universe can kind of manipulate time.
I didn't read that. I didn't hear that theory. There was another one I heard, which I was going to say this could be an option 3 where this might not be the same Ben, or it is the same Ben, but it's like not his. It's like his soul or his spirit. I heard something on that like that online because of the whole witchcraft ordeal. Like somehow, like I heard after his death in season 3, like somehow his spirit managed to cross over to this alternate universe, which happens to be Chilling Adventures. And then there's like this whole big debate on what could actually be going on behind the scenes of of this show. I know it sounds crazy, but it's just a theory.
I don't know. I hope it's not something like ridiculous.
Like that.
Yeah, something like ridiculous and over the top where it's like, oh, this whole universe, like time doesn't exist and anything could happen. Like, I hope it's like an actual logical explanation. Like, oh, this season just takes place before the events of season 3 of Riverdale.
Yeah,
because
but then that also wouldn't make sense because she clearly Miss Wendell clearly wanted this pizza guy over so she can eat him. So does it take place? Yeah, so it's me thinking like, does this take place like before season 3? Because then he somehow got out of that, which I highly doubt he would be able to.
Yeah.
And that makes me question: is this the same Ben? And if we do get a Riverdale crossover, is it going to be the same actors, but not necessarily the same characters? If you understand what I mean.
Not necessarily, but
like it's them. It's like the same cast from the Riverdale TV show, but they pop up in Chilling Adventures as like alternate versions of their characters. Like this is a parallel universe.
I get you.
To Riverdale universe.
Yeah,
and we just see the same ones again. Yeah.
Yeah, I get you. I hope if they do that, I hope it is that Sabrina just takes place in a different universe, because Riverdale, kind of like how Arrow was, it has a ground of realism to it, and then to throw this supernatural kind of universe into it would kind of feel weird.
The universe, that's what I was gonna say. Like the supernatural stuff did just started getting introduced in season 3 of Riverdale.
And that's what I think is kind of happening. Season 3, they haven't really gotten too much into it. Like right now, it's just a cult that's there in season 3, but there's a moment in the cult. There's a moment where Betty walks out of her house and her mother and her sister are doing this weird ass ritual thing, and they put her sister's babies over this fire and they let go of them, and the babies start to float. And then they're telling Betty, Betty faints, and they're telling her, or she doesn't faint, she starts having a seizure. And they're telling her, like, oh, you just imagined it, which we all know that she didn't. So I think season 3 is setting up a supernatural universe of Riverdale. That way Sabrina can eventually cross over into it.
Yeah. It's also got me thinking, like, would Riverdale end up just being on Netflix at this point? Because I know the situation with like with TNT when they're the original like broadcaster for Supergirl, but then she ended up going to CW so that way she can connect to the Arrowverse.
It was actually CBS.
CBS, yes, it was CBS.
Yeah.
Not or I feel like that's not right either.
No, it was CBS.
I'll take your word for it. But yeah, I'm probably thinking TNT because that was the original developers for Teen Titans, the live action show.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. It was, yeah. I kind of hope that doesn't happen to Riverdale because they can kind of span the show over. I mean, they've done a good job spanning it over, 20-something episodes every season. I've never watched any of these seasons and been like, oh, they could have shortened this story. Which they can shorten all the stories, but I've never felt like they needed to. Like how sometimes you watch a show and you're like, this season could have been shortened. Like Riverdale has never felt like that to me.
I don't know. I'm just not a fan of shows that need like 20 episodes for a season. I feel like
so 90% of shows on TV.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know. I feel like 20 episodes is so much for a season. That's why I just haven't binged Supernatural yet, like everyone keeps telling me to.
No, I get you, and don't do that.
Yeah.
I stopped caring for Supernatural after like season 6.
I stopped at like 4, I think, probably. Yeah.
What are they on now? Like 13, 12, 13?
I don't fucking know. I don't think CW even knows at this point. I don't know if they know it's on the air still. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like it would be cool on Netflix. I feel like they can get, I guess, necessarily a little edgier and maybe not as cheesy and campy as CW usually does with their shows.
Yeah, but also kind of watching Riverdale, it's not really a show that needs to be anything else. Like you watch Sabrina and
yeah, I get you. Like it's like they're both fine as how they are.
Yeah, Sabrina needed to be a dark show. Riverdale, while yes, it's a darker take from the Archie comics, it doesn't have to be as dark as Sabrina is if you watch the story.
Yeah, it's just fine the way it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't really watch Riverdale. I've tried watching the first few episodes of season 1 and I just couldn't get into it. It's not for me. But, we'll see what happens with that. You think, since we're going to be on the subject, you think we'll have, I guess, more answers to that connection in season 2 of Sabrina the Chilling Adventures?
Yes, I think depending on the success of Sabrina is whether or not we'll see a crossover and how big of a crossover we'll see.
Yeah. I don't think it'll be super huge.
Yeah.
I think it'll probably just be something maybe just a little bigger than name mentions and a brief cameo.
Uh-huh.
Maybe something with actual answers, hopefully.
Yeah, it won't be like Marvel Netflix crossovers.
Oh, yeah, where they just try to, they just ignore... They don't ignore the movies, but the movies kind of just ignore them. That's essentially the Netflix Marvel shows.
Pretty much.
But yeah, so what are your predictions for season 2?
I don't really know what to expect. I do think we're going to get a bit of a romance between Nick and Sabrina.
Yeah, it'll probably delve into like that love triangle crap, like most of these coming of age tales do.
Yeah, so we'll definitely get that, and then eventually she's gonna go back to Harvey.
Yeah, or who knows? Yeah, I haven't read the comics myself personally. I'm pretty sure once I do, I'll figure it out. I know there's not that many issues of it out there, so I feel like the show's probably gonna go beyond where those comics went.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because I think I read that it was actually ongoing, that they were making more. But I don't think they've printed an issue in like 2 years.
Okay.
I'm gonna check that right now.
So if they haven't, if it's something that's going to start going on, it's probably just press for the show.
It could be.
Like how Marvel, right now, Marvel Comics, essentially, if there's a movie coming out, they're going to focus on that comic book series. Like when Guardians of the Galaxy came out, they gave them a new series.
Yeah, I remember they made it more in line with the actual,
the
actual actors and stuff.
They mold their comics to the films, pretty much.
And I really like that. Hopefully, I don't know, maybe this might revive the comics and maybe even the Archie ones as well. Yeah, they haven't. It's only like 10 issues that they've done for Chilling Adventures, the comics.
Okay.
Yeah, so it'll definitely go beyond. It'll definitely go beyond what the comics have done.
Yeah.
So at the end, Sabrina actually ended up signing her name in that book. So we're also definitely going to be exploring a lot more of her role as what it seems like they're going for, like full-on witch almost.
Because obviously she's going to win her case, and she's going to not have to, succumb to Satan entirely.
Like she'll probably end up treading that line very thinly, and she'll probably end up backing out and going back to her mortal friends, or something will happen to them. Who knows?
Another interesting thing is her goal throughout the series that we're going to see is she wants to become a super powerful witch and banish Satan.
Which it seems like they're going for. I guess like they're kind of hinting that like she has the ability to. That's why Satan wants her so bad on her side.
Oh, I never thought of that. Yeah,
that's kind of what came to my mind. I feel like that's why he desperately wants her to like sign her name, because he's afraid, because he has knowledge that she can actually take him down if she's given the right amount of practice and fully develops her skills.
Mm-hmm.
And clearly that also makes Miss Satan or Miss Wendell pretty jealous, because you can tell she's super infatuated with Satan himself, the Dark Lord. Yeah. So and obviously with the end when she kills her familiar, you can tell it's most likely going to lead to a showdown between the two witches. So I'm expecting more of that in season 2.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And Zelda stealing one of the babies from Faustus, I think his name is.
Yeah, Father Blackwood.
Father Blackwood.
He has twins, and they're supposed to be twin boys. And, boys, he's kind of like the head of this cult.
Yeah, he's the head of this coven. He's pretty much Satan's right-hand man. He's always there for him. He's like, he does the human endeavors and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And or earth endeavors, I guess is a better term. But he wants a firstborn boy. He wants his firstborn to be a boy. And I think the girl ended up coming out first, if I remember that correctly. And Aunt Zilda took Lady Blackwood's words to heart and said, protect the baby, protect the girl at any cost.
Yeah.
Like, he cannot find out, like, that she was her firstborn or something along those lines.
Yeah, because the firstborn is supposed to be the next, like, heir, the next, is supposed to be the heir and the next leader of the coven, as he said, and it wasn't the boy. So Zelda steals it to protect it, and we're going to see what trouble that gets them in season 2.
Yeah, because we can tell that will backfire, because eventually I'm pretty sure he will catch on.
Oh yeah, because then there would have been no point in stealing the baby in the first place. We need the story.
We need a season 2, guys. Come on. And then there was Aunt Hilda, her starting a romance with the owner of that Halloween shop.
Yeah.
At the end, you see his eyes turn yellow, hinting that, this man is definitely not human.
Yeah.
Who do you think, like, if you could think of anything, like, who do you think he could be? Could be a warlock?
Honest, I don't know. Well, I mean, a warlock is just a male with... It's a warlock... A male bitch. Yeah. Because they thought they were too cool for the word wizard.
Yeah.
So that's all that is. Being a warlock isn't anything bad.
Yeah, so it's 2018 now. We can be witches.
I don't know, because there's nothing throughout the show that like mentions who he could be. I think it's just going to be a new character, a new story that we'll meet in season 2.
Yeah, I'm really curious how all this is going to play out. Oh yeah, which we didn't even mention those 3 witches at the academy.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're fine.
They're cool. They're there.
Yeah, I mean, they can be pretty vicious when they want to be, I guess. Like the two of them causing that collapse in the mines. I didn't expect them to go there on their own.
Oh yeah, that was fucked up.
Yeah, that was pretty fucked. So you can tell they definitely weren't ones to mess with. You could just tell how evil they were, like especially when they were pretty much hazing Sabrina at her first week at the academy.
Yeah. Which I will say, there are moments where Salem, Sabrina needs Salem and he's there to save her. And then there are moments where Sabrina really needs Salem and he's nowhere to be fucking found.
Yeah, right. Which they kind of make it up. I guess they kind of make the rule, and like at one point in the academy, he's not allowed there.
Yeah.
But even then, when she's not at the academy, he's never there. But I think that wraps it up on our thoughts for Sabrina season 1.
Yeah, it's pretty much it. General thoughts, without, dissecting every episode, because that would just take too long, as you've heard in our Hill House review.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's a great show.
Yeah, it's a great show. I was actually pretty surprised by it. It was honestly like, it was perfect that they released it just before Halloween. It was like one of those perfect Halloween binges.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I'm actually looking forward to a season 2.
Oh yeah, definitely. I finished season 1 and I was super excited to start season 2 when it comes out in a year.
Oh my god. Hopefully sooner, because it just says part 1. I'm not sure how that Netflix things works. Is part 1 just season 1, I'm guessing?
Yeah.
I don't know why they can't just say season 1.
I don't know.
Because they're too good for it. Who knows?
Pretty much.
But let us know your thoughts on the show, and if there's any more shows that you would like us to talk about, or even movies, even video games. We still have to figure out what video games we should run through.
Yeah, I'm kind of waiting for something to come out first.
Yeah. There's a couple that have dropped, just nothing too interesting. Like there's Call of Cthulhu, which that looks fun, but it doesn't seem like a game I can really get hooked on.
Uh-huh.
That's about it. I don't know, but there's always other shows we could probably... Roller games, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But that's going to do it for this episode. Once again, I'm Brandon.
I'm Jerry.
And this has been...
American Werewolves.
Stay spooky.